Hey everybody, today Rahdo rambles through board gaming awards season. Woohoo! This is going to be a really quick one because we're about to get on a plane in just a couple of hours to go to Board Game Geek Spring. Hopefully, we'll see some of you there. But before I go, this week, which is in a few days of each other, the Dice Tower and the Spiel des Jahres nominees for Games of the Year both got announced, and I thought, well, how about I give my 2 cents? In the past, when I have done that, certainly on the Dice Tower stuff, it's created a brouhaha and whatnot as people get upset that I'm second guessing Tom, especially in public. And so I try not to do that anymore because I don't want to ruffle any feathers. But hey, I'll tell you folks what I think. Let's do the Spiel nominees and Kennerspiel first, though, because that's really quick. What are they? Just one llama and weirwords for Spiel of the year, game of the year. And that sounds crazy to me. I don't know that I agree with any of those three, specifically because I would think the Spiel des Jahres should, in large part, ensure that it puts forward games that work for all number of players, especially couples gamers. And none of those three games work for two. Well, actually, no. Actually, that's not true. Llama does, but I am not happy about that one either. Just One and Weirwords are both party games that need at least 3 or 4 players. Llama you can play with 2, but I think I don't agree with a single one of those nominations. And if it were me, well, certainly if you want to have something like Llama, which is basically, an Uno variant for all intents and purposes, I think it was kind of a spit in the face of Friedman Freeze not to put Fine Sand on there. Same light, card play, fast. You can teach anybody a really compulsive replay over and over and over again, but Fine Sand does so much more in that it continues to give after you've played a few games. It constantly evolves over the course of the game, and I think has the potential to get people who maybe weren't into board games excited about the potential of board games. Llama is a self-contained loop. Oh, I can play this. What am I going to go play now? I guess more Uno. I do not like it. And then 2 party games, meaning couples gamers, screw you! When they could have thrown in Luxor or Railroad Inc. or Spring Meadow or Gizmos, any of those, I think, should have made those extra nominees. And it's really quite ridiculous that none of them did. I did look it up. Railroad Inc. was available in Germany. Actually, all of those were available in Germany within the timestamps. So, yeah, I think the Spiel this year is ridiculous. The Kenner is interesting because it's Wingspan, which I totally agree with. That one, no brainer. I would have recommended that myself. But then Detective, which, again, for something that's trying to appeal to a broad base, Detective, I think is fairly niche. It's good at what it does, but what it does is, hey, everybody, let's all get together and sit around a table and read to each other for hours and hours and hours. It makes no sense to me that this one's here. And Carpe Diem, don't get me wrong, it was my number 1 game of 2018. I think it's amazing, obviously, but I don't think it belongs here either because I think it is too heavy and too complex. The whole point of the Kennerspiel nominee is not supposed to be a big, heavy, thinky, crunchy Euro. It's supposed to be a good next step game. Oh, I like Ticket to Ride. What should I try next? What has a little bit more meat on the bone? Carpe Diem is a crazy jump up. Would you recommend somebody play a party game like Weirwords and then say, yeah, now you're ready for a real game? Carpe Diem. That's ridiculous. So again, I fundamentally don't agree. And if it were me, as much as I love Carpe Diem, I would not put on the list. Wingspan, definitely. But what would I put for the other 2 instead? Selenia, which is fantastic. It is an excellent game. It's fun, it's beautiful, it's compelling and compulsive, and it comes with beginner and advanced rules. So it ticks the Kenner box perfectly. A beautiful production. Anybody looking at it wants to play it as you see the board, move conveyor belt style. Ridiculous. It did not get a nod. Pearl was robbed. And Pandemic, Fall of Rome, which is such an amazing, Pandemic is an amazing gateway game. Fall of Rome is a great next step. Totally should have gotten the nomination as far as I'm concerned. Alrighty. So anyway, that's my ramble about the Kennerspiel and the Spiel des Jahres. Take it for what it's worth. Now, for the much longer list, because Dice Tower has all kinds of nominations. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 categories. So here's the deal. I'm going to suggest, and I'll be honest, none of the categories had anything like I say, okay, that's ridiculous. How could this be the nomination list? The Spiel des Jahres was totally out of whack. The Kenner was okay, a little off. But the Dice Tower stuff, by and large, I thought, okay, yeah, these are all cool. These make sense to me. Maybe I'm just an American. I think with rare exceptions would I have gone with any of the ones they had suggested. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through them in order. And from what's on the list, I'll say what I think should win based on what they nominated. And then I'll think what should have really won. Right. So that, and most often was not on the list because it was overlooked. So for family games, which according to the Dice Tower, Tom has told me this in the past, is another word for gateway games. So family/gateway games, of their list, I would throw in Gizmos, which, in part, hey, I mentioned it should get a nod for the Spiel des Jahres as well. Neat, fun little engine building game. So much cool toy factor with the marbles and all that. I don't see how anybody can't enjoy it. Maybe one complaint is it is a little bit on the long side, but still. Lovely, lovely thing. But that's not what I would have nominated. Or if I were on the voting committee, I would have put Spy Club on there. Great, wonderful, fun stuff. I always think anytime you can create a cooperative game for families, that is the golden ticket. The industry, the world needs more of that. Teaching families, teaching kids to work together instead of trying to beat each other as they grow up. And Spy Club is just lovely. It's kind of like an abstracted, simplified pandemic set in a Scooby-Doo mystery kind of thing with a great campaign mode. Really liked Spy Club a lot. Then for best artwork, from their list, Everdell, and hey, they nailed it. It was on the list. My choice for best artwork of the year would also be Everdell. Beautiful, gorgeous, evocative, the perfect level of cartooniness, but also groundedness. Everything about that game is just gorgeous to behold, and it really elevates the experience. Then, most innovative game. Off of their list of suggestions, I would go with Keyforge. And if I were to suggest my own most innovative game of the year, I would also go with Keyforge. I think, and it's interesting, it's in no way, shape, or form innovative in terms of gameplay. I've not even played it. It's a dueling wizard game. Oh, I try to destroy, do 20 points of damage, whatever Magic the Gathering type thing it is. I haven't paid much attention. I'm not interested. But I think it's incredibly innovative. The notion that every single deck of cards that will ever be published for Keyforge is different and unique, which required very big innovations in the area of manufacturing. And I think that warrants discussion. It's a shame that the follow-up, whatever it was, some adventure game turned out apparently to be crap. I haven't played it, but I've just heard nothing but bad things about it. But I really do hope this can signal exciting new breakthroughs in design based on this wonderful breakthrough in manufacturing process. So innovative, Keyforge. I agree. Dice Tower got it right, although they probably won't pick it. Whatever. Best reprint off of their list, I'm going to go with Brass Lancashire. Totally reasonable. I can't find fault to that at all. But in my heart of hearts, I know the real winner, which is not on their list, should have been Tiny Epic Defenders 2nd Edition. And if I were on that nominating list, this is probably the one I would argue for more than any other. Of course, everybody knows my history with Tom and Tiny Epic Defenders, so I just feel maybe honor-bound to Tiny Epic Defended. But, man, this is it so knocks it out of the park, and it's a shame. I mean, Brass Lancashire got rightly lavished with so much praise for the graphic makeover, the fixes it does, but it pales in comparison to the makeover that Tiny Epic Defenders got with its 2nd edition. Okay, best strategy game. Off of their list, I'm going to go with Underwater Cities, and I'd be very, very happy with that. Such a great game. But for myself, it's a no-brainer. It's the best game of the year, Carpe Diem, which of course would not see the light of day on the Dice Tower list because it's fair. it's such an ugly game. They did such a poor job on production, but the gameplay is out of this world. Second or third best Feld game of all time. I'm still kind of on the fence about that. But anyway, that would definitely be the best strategy game as far as I'm concerned. But I'd be happy with their Underwater Cities. Although, of course, that's not what's going to win either. Ugh! Alrighty. Best production. They went with Grim Forest. I also go with Grim Forest. I want to give it to Everdell, but man, the production on Grim Forest is so out of this world, especially considering it's from a relatively brand new publisher. I think was it their first published game? Amazing quality. I mean, and it certainly deserves a nod for best art too. So I'm very, very happy with one of their suggestions, Grim Forest. Not that I have any interest in playing it. It's a very, very nasty cutthroat game for families. It's a gateway family cutthroat game. Whee! Too bad, but oh man, it looks gorgeous. Best expansion off of their list, I'll go with Scythe, Rise of Fenris, which I would like to play someday because it brings cooperative gameplay to Scythe. It brings campaign gameplay to Scythe as well. It certainly seems a very, very worthy one. I know is hugely popular. Maybe someday we'll get to play it. But that's not what I would have made the list. My choice, Eminent Domain, Oblivion, which totally deserves it. This one does so much. Plus, as I understand it, I mean, I don't know, I kind of want to give it a little bit of a sending off because I think this is going to be the last expansion for Eminent Domain, and the other expansion, the Alien one, and I can't think of the first one because they all had kind of generic names, but the other two expansions were phenomenal game changers as well, and so is Oblivion, and I think it deserves it. Eminent Domain deserves so much more love than it gets, and so that would have been my best expansion of the year. After that, we've got small publisher games, which off of their list is going to go to Underwater Cities, and I'm almost inclined to agree with that. It's not, though. Gugong, which is also, from their definition of what a small publisher is, Gugong is the best game of the year from a small publisher. So I'll give it to Gugong, but I almost feel that that's wrong. It's kind of against the spirit of, or at least what I consider the spirit of this thing to be. It should be a celebration of, oh my God, look what this little tiny company did. They've never done anything before, and yet they were able to knock it out of the park like this. For that, I do think Underwater Cities deserves it. Because I know some people complain about the cardboard, player boards being too thin because they're cardstock instead of cardboard and stuff like that. I thought that was ridiculous. I thought the production was phenomenal, and the domes and everything, it looks great. I almost to these days I prefer cardboard player boards as opposed, or cardstock instead of cardboard, because these will warp over time, and cardstock generally doesn't. I think long term, but anyway, still. It is supposed to be judged based on best game, not best game production by a small publisher. And Gugong is still the better game than Underwater Cities. Anyway, although they both made my top 10 of the year. Then we've got best cooperative. Off of their list, I would give it to The Mind. Because it is a really, really special, wonderful experience. And I'm so glad I've gotten to share it with Jen's mom when she visited. That's really, really great. But that's off their list. What's conspicuously absent, I already talked about earlier in this video, would be Pandemic Fall of Rome, which is easily the best cooperative game of the year. And the fact that it's not even on their list is mind-blowing to me. Crazy sauce. But anyway, moving along, we've got the best two-player only game, although they're always play fast and loose with this. Often ones have gotten nominated that officially go to higher player counts, but whatevs. Of their list, I would go with Haven. It's a very nice little multi-front area control game between two players. Great art from Vintage Trade, great gameplay from Alf Siegert. A good, solid nomination, but for me, and my taste, it pales in comparison to Yokohama Duel, which is great. It is a really super duper production. I understand why this might not have made their list because if I were in charge of this list, I would say just if Board Game Geek says it was a 2018 game, it's a 2018 game. We don't get to override them. They are the final. If you disagree, you can go on Board Game Geek and try and lobby to get it changed. You don't just break the rules. Yokohama Duel did come out in 2018, and so I think it warrants it. That said, even if it was official, I bet you it wouldn't make their 2019 list either when it gets its second edition in America. But whatever. America's not the center of the world in terms of board gaming, Tom. Basing his nomination viability on American releases makes no sense to me. And as a result, Yokohama Duel will get the short end of the stick, unfortunately, because it's neat. Best new designer, they went with Wolfgang Warsch. I will also. Even though none of his games landed for us 100%, I can't. I have to doff my cap to the amazing accomplishment of wonderful designs that just this guy banged out over and over and over again. And I really am looking forward to that Taverns game too, although I haven't gotten a chance. Maybe we'll get to play it this weekend. Fingers crossed at Dice Tower West. Oh, I'm sorry, not Dice Tower West. Did I say Dice Tower earlier? Board Game Geek Spring. That's where I'm going in a couple of hours. Okay, party game. Of their list, this is a tough one for me because, of course, I don't think, if I recall, I don't know that I played any. No, actually, I think they put Mind on party game. I don't remember now. Let me go and look. If they did, it's ridiculous because the Mind is the worst. Yes, they did. The Mind on best party game is ridiculous. What kind of party is this? Where everybody just sits quietly and, no. There's in no way, shape, or form. The Mind is an excellent gateway game. The Mind is an excellent cooperative game. The Mind is a terrible party game. Unless you like creepy seances for your party. But anyway, of the ones they suggested, I haven't played Trap Words or Drop It or Decrypto or just one, but, oh, by the way, go to the link. If you want to see what all their nominations are, I'll put a link down in the show notes. But anyway, based on what I've read of these, I think I would be most drawn to Decrypto. That one sounds like the most fun, but I could see just one making it as well. But that said, the one I would give the nod to, of course, once again, did not make their list, was it Shadows Amsterdam. I think that would be the life of the party, a real-time cooperative Dixit, or a real-time Mysterium, team-based. Now, I know for some people, the real-time element is a shame, it is a problem, and for that reason, it is kind of too bad that they don't have non-real-time rules. Sooner or later, they are going to come to their senses and release, if they haven't already. But an amazing party game in the same way Dixit is a great party game, or Codenames is a great party game. Shadows Amsterdam, which I've done a run through for. Everything I'm talking about here, with a few exceptions, Grim Forest, I think is the only one I have done a video for. Did I do a video? Yeah, I did for Yokohama Duel. But anyway, so party game, Shadows Amsterdam should have gotten the nod, as far as I'm concerned. Best theming. Off of their list, good suggestions. I definitely think it's a no-brainer. Stuffed Fables. The game didn't work for us, but I cannot fault it for its amazing implementation of theme. And its amazing theme itself. It fires on all cylinders on that front. So anyway, that's what I would go off of their list. And I would have to agree, it's what I would have nominated. It's what I would have chosen anyway for best theming of the year. And finally, Game of the Year, off of their list of 10 nominees. Let's just go back. Again, you can look at all these yourself, but I'll just scroll down and open it, except now I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Best Game of the Year. Oh, it's at the top of their list. Of Root, Teotihuacan, Chronicles of Crime, Underwater Cities, Brass Birmingham, Western Legends, Everdell, Rising Sun, Architects of the West Kingdom, and The Mind. Well, of all that, yeah, it's Underwater Cities, with Teotihuacan coming in second place. I know neither of those will make it. They'll probably give it to Chronicles of Crime, or maybe Brass Birmingham, but probably Chronicles of Crime will get it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a good list. I got no problems with that list, other than one crucial, ridiculous, insane oversight, the real best game of the year, which they didn't even mention. They've missed it twice now, of course. Carpe Diem. And it's so weird. The Kenner Spiel gets the nod. It doesn't belong there. It belongs in two specific places on the Dice Tower one, and it doesn't make it there. It's okay though, folks. That's just my quick hot take on a couple of award nominees. And now I got to get back to packing because we got to fly probably in an hour now. Thanks as always for watching. See you again next month. Keep on rambling, everybody. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.